Hi guys, Greg Olson here with the Jasper County Conservation Department. I'm here tonight to share with you a new hobby of mine I just picked up here a couple of years ago. After I got back from a trip to Colorado with my family, I did some fly fishing out there and realized it might be kind of fun to be able to tie my own flies so that I could hit up some of the cold water streams here in Iowa and do some trout fishing myself. So just thought I'd go through some of the basic supplies and tools that you might need to get started. I'm by no means an expert. I'm still learning as I'm going, so everything's not going to be perfect, but that's kind of the fun in having hobbies like this, is you can experiment and figure out what works for you and go from there. So we'll go through some of the tools with you, and then we'll tie some flies for you. So some of the basic tools that you'll need to get started in fly tying are right here on the table. The first one that I want to share with you is your vise. So this is what holds your hook in place while you're tying on the material that you choose to tie whatever fly pattern you're looking for. This one here is an old one, but it really does a nice job. This was given to me by my great uncle Vern. And this one is a Herder's, and it's not a rotary vise. You can't spin it around, but basically you just lift this lever right here and it opens in the front, and then when you push that back down, it locks your hook into place. So this is an essential part of your fly tying supply list, so you'll want to get one of those. You can pick them up pretty cheap. Bass Pro, we bought a bunch for some summer camps for the kids, and I think we got them for around $15 to $20. So you don't have to spend $200 on a vise to get started in tying flies. Some of the other tools that we have here, this right here is called a bobbin, and this tool right here is what you use to wind your thread around the shank of the hook when you're tying your materials on. So it holds the spool of thread right here, and then you run your thread up through this section. It goes out the end, and you can use that to tie your material with. It's always handy to have a nice sharp pair of scissors. So these work well to cut off your excess thread or any of your feathers that you're tying on. You can trim those up with it. You can trim dubbing with it, so nice to have a sharp pair of scissors. This right here is a hackle plier. So one of the flies that I'm going to show you tonight, we will use that to basically grip onto one end of the barbels of the feather and use that to tie onto our hook. This tool right here I use to spread out some of the head cement or any sort of adhesive you want to put on your fly so that it doesn't come apart. So that's what I use that for. And this right here is called a whip finisher, and this is what you use to finish out your fly. So after you get all your material put onto the hook, you run your thread onto here, and it basically ties that into a knot so it holds all the material in place and doesn't just fall apart each time you use it. So there's our hackle pliers. So I'm just going to go through some of the other supplies that I use when I'm tying flies. Obviously you have to have hooks to be able to tie a fly. So I have an assortment of different hooks in there. In this one here, I have an assortment of different beads. You can buy tungsten beads, so it helps nymphs and things to be able to sink faster. Copper beads, all different sizes and colors. I have copper wire that I will use on some of my fly patterns, and then your thread. And the thread comes in different sizes and colors and materials, so you can pick and choose what works best for you. And this one right here is a lead-free type wire that you can wind onto the shank of your hook, and it helps that fly to get down in the water column a little bit better if you're fishing deeper water. So So you can get anything from really sparkly, showy stuff to kind of that olive drab color that looks more natural. So you can pick and choose what you want there. And my last drawer here, I have an assortment of different things. So this right here is called dubbing, and I have an assortment of different colors here as well. Usually when you're finishing up towards the head or the thorax, you can spin some of that onto your thread and finish out your fly that way. I've got some Flashabou. This right here is Peacock Herl, which we'll be using on one of the flies tonight as well. So like any hobby, you can spend as much or as little on that hobby as you choose. I just picked up some basic supplies to be able to tie some basic fly patterns. So that's what I have, and let's go ahead and get started in tying a fly.